name is Wranker, Critical Wranker, and my mission is to play, complete, review, and rank every James Bond title.
Stupid cliche intro aside, that is what I aim to do in this series. We're going to play the good, the bad, and everything in between, with the aim of crowning one game with the codename of 007. We'll randomly pick a game from the Wheel of Bond each episode and play the game on real hardware with the original physical media. So sit back, relax, grab a shaken martini and join me as we enter the crossover world of James Bond licensed games. We're back again in the comfort zone that is Bond games, like a warm blanket on a cold winter's night, or in the case of Tomorrow Never Dies, like broken glass in the arsehole followed by a Tabasco sauce bath. Yes, the last episode was punishing, and when the Wheel of Bond picked yet another mid-tier game in From Russia with Love, my enthusiasm certainly took a hit. But here we are. Now, when I say mid-tier, I'm saying that from a position of complete ignorance, basing that opinion on absolutely nothing. I had never played this game before this episode, and if it wasn't for the game's PR team, at the time, hailing this as the return of the master, Sir Sean Connery, I probably wouldn't have heard of it at all, as this title was released in a time when gaming was not a priority for me. It's one of those situations where if the grapevine hasn't told me the game's a classic, and with no YouTubers telling me this is a hidden gem. I assume it's a stinker. And you know what they say about assuming? It makes a tit out of everyone. No wait, that doesn't sound right. Once again, we have a game which needs quite a bit of context. And if you are here for a nice, quick, precise retrospective, I'm afraid you've come to the wrong place. Because here, we like to go long and deep. Really long. And really deep.
That's what she said!
No. We are not doing this childish shit anymore. This is a game with licensing issues, a little known cancelled sequel, and, of course, the return of the once and future king. This is the definition of an enigma. So, strap in, because this game sent me on quite the roller coaster. A roller coaster that diverted down a rabbit hole, and I have a lot to cover with our latest 007 outing. It's really hard to know where to start with this, so what better place to jump in but with the star of the game. Now let's get this out the way straight off the bat. Rest in peace, Sir Sean Connery. For most, he was the all-time best Bond, not me personally. For me, Best Bond is a title that will always belong to Pierce Brosnan, due to the time in my life his films were released. It's GoldenEye, let's be honest, it's because of GoldenEye. But I was very fond of Mr. Connery's ruling interpretation of the suave spy. Definitely my second favourite. As I said, one of the main selling points of From Russia with Love was Sean Connery making his first return to the role he had vacated 22 years prior, and his first appearance in the official Eon canon since Diamonds Are Forever in 1971. This was to be Sir Sean's farewell to the character, a foray that spanned 42 years when all was said and done. And this is certainly something EA wanted the public to know. The marketing was strong with this one. EA's new title was synonymous with the former Bond actor, and in all honesty, if I was playing games around the mid-noughties, the intrigue of seeing the original Bond back in the role one last time would have been enough for me to pick up this title. However, I am alone in that sentiment apparently. Sales figures are not easy to find, but from the little information I could find, saying this game didn't sell well is like saying P. Diddy is only a slight risk to young Canadian musicians. Now, we do have to take this information with a pinch of salt. I can't confirm the figures, but VGCharts.com has the game selling around 830,000 copies on the three main platforms, with MI6 HQ confirming this information, making it comfortably the worst selling EA Bond title. MI6 HQ also tracked the game charts at the time, noting FRWL barely featured in the UK sales charts, disappearing as quick as it appeared, and failed to even break into the US charts. I mean, let's be honest, it's not looking good. And all this is kind of vindicating my uneducated impression of the game. Regardless of the poor sales, Sean Connery certainly seemed to embrace his return to the franchise. And why wouldn't he? He was in the twilight of his career, retired from physical acting, being handed the chance to give his most prominent role a final send-off. And he recorded all his lines from the comfort of his Bahamas home. Who wouldn't be happy with that arrangement? I'm not going to continue glowing about Sir Sean. I think you get the point. And as far as his actual performance in the game, well, we'll get to that later. There isn't much information available about the actual development of From Russia with Love. An interview with art director Dave Carson, a piece talking to the musician behind the soundtrack, Christopher Lennertz, and some one-to-ones with various voice actors. But apart from those short pieces, that's it. Everything went as smooth as butter, or did it? Now, full disclosure, I didn't discover this information. It was submitted to me by a watcher of my Nightfire retrospective, the driver 7941. He sent me a link to a now deleted Facebook video. Luckily, for once, I had the forethought to archive the video, and it's... well, let me show you, and then we'll talk about what it is.
Our satellites have tracked the Prime Minister's daughter to a yacht in Rio de Janeiro.
Understood. I'll swing by. I'll have a vodka martini. Shaken, not stirred.
How nice of you to join us.
Care to point out Zoe Stark?
If I must.
I'll have another Caparina.
Thank you. Who are you?
Bond. James Bond. Now how about that Caparina?
Right, let's unpack this. This cancelled game seems to have hardly left a footprint on the interwebs, so there will be some conjecture on my part, but this is what I found and surmised. According to the James Bond wiki, This was actually a cancelled game to be released after Everything or Nothing, a sequel to 007 Nightfire. They have the game listed as Phoenix Rising. You know, Phoenix, the big bad from Nightfire. This leads me to believe this character could possibly be the return of the main underling from that game, Rook, apparently surviving the grenade blast to the face. I mean, how many times do we have to kill this guy? As you will see when we get into FRWL, this opening is very reminiscent of what we eventually got. A party comes under attack. The Prime Minister's daughter, Zoe/Elizabeth Stark, is the damsel in distress in both versions, and Bond saves her using a jetpack. This rabbit hole eventually led me to the X feed of artist Ross Harris, which in turn led me to his small YouTube channel. No shade, my channel is also small. This was a little treasure trove featuring unreleased work from the infamous Sonic Extreme, and most importantly for us, From Russia with Love. Yes, Ross was a graphic artist working under Dave Carson on From Russia with Love, and gives us further insight into the situation. In this concept video, Ross states in the description, work on the next game after the release of Everything or Nothing was going slow, so the art department come up with this concept. In the comments, he further explains how this game eventually changed direction due to Pierce Brosnan stepping down as Bond, leaving them to pursue a Sean Connery-led throwback game. Ross has other videos on his channel, but I'm not going to play all his work. If you're interested, you should give him the views, link to his channel in the description. Unfortunately, the best I can do is third-party investigative journalism. I contacted some sources, but I'm yet to receive any responses, and it seems I just don't have the clout to walk this path any further. The video I showed you seems to now be lost media, and the version I showed is cut down for brevity. So I will publish the full video on my channel, and if anyone wishes to chase this down further, feel free to contact me and I'll offer any help I can. So, why is this important? Well, in response to the mixed reviews, developers on the team pointed to time restraints as their key problem, with game developer Michael Condrey commenting, "It was a good game, but we didn't have enough time or resources to really deliver on the vision we wanted for it." Cut this which way you will. Maybe this is pure cope from a salty game developer, but there must have been a knock-on effect from losing so much project time early doors. Sorry, going a little long on the development. Just it's not every day lost media falls into my lap, and I wanted to give it the context it deserves. So, with all that being said, it's on to the ports. From Russia with Love's main console build was released in November 2005 in the US and developed by EA's Redwood Studios, the division that would go on to become Visceral Games. You know, Dead Space developer Visceral Games. And when all was said and done, they have developed the second most Bond titles, only bettered by Eurocom. All the main home consoles of the time got a port of From Russia with Love, and I played them all for this video. As usual, they all had their own nuances. The PS2 has great frame rate, my much preferred controls, but the stair-step aliasing is horrendous. The GameCube is the happy middle ground, reasonable frame rate, better anti-aliasing with acceptable controls. And the Xbox? Well, I need to apologise to the Xbox. Listen, I'm a big man, and I can admit when I'm wrong. Sorry brother, I misjudged you. You really are the OG.
Hey, what about me, asshole? I believe I'm owed an apology.
You tried to take over the world. I had to use the time machine to go back and stop an extinction level event because of your evil doings. I think you owe me an apology, you absolute bellend.
Good point. I'm sorry.
You're what? You're sorry?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I failed, and I'll do it again at the first opportunity. Then this master race will rise.
This guy, am I right? When I played Nightfire, it was done on a stock Xbox with an RGB SCART cable. I chewed it out for being the inferior port. However, things have changed. I installed a mod chip on my Crystal Xbox, made a custom YT BPR cable and enabled 1080 progressive mode. And wow, the game looks so much better than the other platforms. The colours are far more vibrant, the darks are amazing, and the stair-step aliasing is barely noticeable. Don't get me wrong, the FPS is still absolute wank, but when a game looks this good, there is no choice to make. So the Xbox will be the main man in this retrospective. There was also a PSP build of the game, developed by Rebellion Software of Sniper Elite fame and released 5 months after its console counterparts. It's a brilliant port, which I also played to completion. A truly remarkable effort from Rebellion, but I won't be covering it much in this retrospective. Now I know what you're thinking.
When are they gonna get to the
gameplay commentary?
Soon, Millhouse. Soon. But first, we need to do my favourite bit and see how the game was received at the time. So, to the magazines. Unfortunately, there is no multi-platform offering this time. Edge appears to have got a massive ego stick wedged thoroughly up their rectum, seemingly judging themselves above reviewing lowly Bond titles by this point, so we have to settle with the official publications from Nintendo and PlayStation. Not ideal, but it will have to do. First, let's take a peek at the official PlayStation 2 magazine, issue 66, and it's a rather comprehensive 3-page review. George Walters was impressed with the game, enjoying the gadgets and diverse gameplay, summing up his opinions in this paragraph.
Whether you're shooting up a car factory from a jetpack, sniping octopus agents in a Turkish gypsy camp, or blowing up gunships from the back of a speedboat, the sense of overblown, infeasible spectacle is infectious. It reminds us that Bond offers an absurdly rich canvas for game content, most of which is yet untapped.
OPS2 magazine gives From Russia With Love an eyebrow-raising 8 out of 10, although George did state this is the best Bond adaptation on the PS2. And as an avid lover of Nightfire, this statement does make me question his review. Over to the official Nintendo magazine, and this time it's a far more scathing take, finding little to like with these brutal remarks.
Bond films are about action, and EA has clearly gone all out to pack this game full of it. EA's even gone to the extent of strapping Bond to a jetpack and letting him fly through the air, firing missiles. But big explosions, fancy gadgets, and shiny visuals do not make us blind to the fact that FRWL seriously lacks attention to detail, preventing its world from being at all believable.
The final judgment score given was a disappointing 69%. Nice. And by chance gives us a peek into the mixed reception that plagued this game. Right, preamble over, so let's get on with it. Just a quick note on the playthrough commentary. The composer I mentioned earlier, Christopher Lunetz, has entered his music into YouTube's copyright system, so pretty much the entire soundtrack pops the content match Goblins. Sometimes a voiceover is enough to stop this, but it does mean I can't directly critique the music using examples. The soundtrack to this game is what I would describe as safe. It follows very basic music theory principles to create the standard movie soundtrack fare. This isn't a knock on Christopher. Any good musician should follow these basic composition concepts. It's just nothing special, but fits Bond perfectly. As for the gameplay, I'm playing the game, as mentioned, on a modified Crystal Xbox with a component cable connected to the RetroTink 4K and captured in 4K with an Alva Media Live Gamer. So, grab your Q-copters, sonic cufflinks, and briefcase turrets as we jetpack our way into the highly 60s stylized world of From Russia With Love. As any Bond game should, From Russia With Love opens on the walk-in scene, and in a nice touch, the video has a sepia tone with film grain overlay, and Bond is wearing the classic trilby hat first worn in Dr. No. Awesome, the DB5, Always great to see. But the astute among you will know the first appearance of the Aston was in the film after this one, Goldfinger, and in the novels, Bond actually drives a Bentley. That's going to be a common theme in this game. There are a lot of differences between this and the film we will address as we go, but you are better off going into this game considering it's a love letter to the film rather than a faithful remake.
May I help you?
A dry martini. Shaken, not stout.
Certainly, Commander Bond.
Where is the girl?
Elizabeth Stark, the Prime Minister's youngest daughter. Received word half an hour ago there might be another kidnapping attempt.
She look familiar? Well, probably not. You kids these days probably have no idea who Natasha Bedingfield is. But to us oldies, she was a reasonably successful singer in the 2000s, selling 20 million records. Known for hits such as... Listen, I'm not into that sort of music, but she was still quite a get for a very small role, playing the Prime Minister's daughter only in the first level.
Too bad. The game is over, Mr. Bond.
I think it's just begun.
So finally, onto the game. The first thing that needs to be said about the gunplay is how natural it feels. L shoulder button locks on auto aim, then X button engages Bond focus, being able to further isolate the target. Once in Bond focus, the game gives you specific points to hit depending on the target. So for instance, when the enemy carries grenades, targeting the pocket will drop and activate it, blowing up the enemy. Similar situation for targets with rocket launchers, and it's pretty much required for the largest enemy, needing to literally undress them, removing their armour to cause damage. It's the core mechanic of the game, and it feels very satisfying to use. If you're like me, you will always just go for the head, which is also very effective. Is this overpowered? Totally. But is it fun? Absolutely. The overpowered nature of the mechanic is levelled out by introducing swarms of enemies, because if you spend too long lining up the perfect shot, other enemies will quickly overwhelm the player and devastate your health bar when just standing still. As for the rest of the movement, it's pretty smooth. Bond can wall ride, crouch and dive forward, very useful when becoming overwhelmed. The name of the game is to climb the levels inside Westminster, and with Big Ben in the opening sequence as well as helicopters, if you don't know where this is going, I can't help you. The first section of the level isn't challenging, giving you plenty of leeway to learn the mechanics and get a feel for the controls, giving you the opportunity to use the Vault Jump command. On the other hand, however, it's not a walking simulator. Stop paying attention and walk into an ambush, and you will quickly be ended. That is about as far as the enemy AI goes though. There isn't really much to it, and it was something brought up in the official Nintendo magazine review. They will take cover, but there isn't much more to it. Using a game as a comparison many have played, released in the same generation, Halo gives us a great example of how enemy AI can massively improve a game. The Covenant will swarm, take cover and even run away when overwhelmed. Bear in mind, Halo was released 4 years prior to this game, so the enemy AI is a slight disappointment. I should probably mention, everything I say about this game is from the perspective of playing on the 00 Agent or hard difficulty if you will. Not because I'm some sort of master gamer, I'm borderline retarded at games. But if I'm not being challenged, I get bored, and I have no complaints about the difficulty balancing in From Russia with Love.
My daddy's a very powerful man, you know, you can't just go around
Shut
doing
up!
this.
Ah, jetpacks. Again, this is what I was talking about. There were no jetpacks in the film. This particular style of jetpack is out of 1965's Thunderball, and it's fitting, because that film caused massive problems for the story of this game. I will get to that later.
I think you got the point.
From Russia with Love then introduces the first schematic in the game. They are used for the upgrade system, and I really liked it. Don't get me wrong, it's nothing groundbreaking. Find a schematic, get awarded upgrade points, and spend them on things such as bigger magazines, higher ammo limits, and faster reload speeds. You can also upgrade the equipment, with the only thing I found necessary to upgrade being the body armour. It's all very basic for the time, but I do like how the upgrades can be made in level, being able to improve your loadout without having to leave the level. Finally, we reach the roof. Of course, we all saw it coming. Bond takes out an enemy to commandeer his jetpack. And without a second thought, we are off to do battle atop Big Ben. And yes, smartass, I'm aware the bell is named Big Ben and the structure is called Elizabeth Tower, formerly the Great Clock Tower of Westminster, but we just call it Big Ben in these parts. It's actually quite a spectacular set piece. Luckily, the developers had the foresight to make the machine guns on the jetpack auto-aiming, otherwise this could have been quite a grinding experience. It also has rockets, something I didn't realise until later, but the machine gun is more than enough to take down the Russians rappelling down the clock faces. And interestingly, in the PSP, but not the console versions, the faces of Big Ben are destructible. This makes my heart cry. Actually, scratch that. I replayed the level on the Xbox because I had a hunch, and the faces are destructible when using rockets. I consider this a war crime. Final challenge, taking down the helicopter. Again, not hard. Strafe, shoot, and use the side jets when charged at. Once defeated, Bond flies through the helicopter, grabbing Elizabeth in the most unbelievable way only 007 can get away with.
Who are you?
The name is Bond. James Bond.
And then, Bond jets into the night to, you know, that's the first level. So what we thinking? Well, if we are to put this in context, that was far more enjoyable than the first level of Tomorrow Never Dies, the last third-person Bond game we played. That game felt very thrown together, with no real cohesion, whereas From Russia with Love felt very well designed, with a much better learning curve and battle mechanics I feel are going to be very enjoyable. So far, I'm not understanding those low scores the game was getting, especially when you consider this was apparently very similar to Redwood Studios' last Bond effort, Everything or Nothing, a game that seems to be very well received. I can't comment on it personally, I've never played that game, and I had to make a choice whether to play Everything or Nothing for full context or go in blind and not ruin the experience of that retrospective when the Wheel of Bond deems it everything or nothing's time. I went with the latter, so you will have to excuse my ignorance regarding that game. So, on to the next stage, Hedgemaze, the true beginning of the actual film.
This is an infiltration mission. Retrieve the documents hidden within the mansion at the far end of the Hedgemaze. Be careful. We believe you may have picked up a shadow.
So, all we know is we are on an infiltration mission to recover documents. And for those who watch the film, you know the twist here. But for the uninformed, I won't ruin the twist. Yet. It was on Hedgemaze I first noticed how bad the frame rate on the Xbox is in this game. My eyes are getting old, so I do like to check the frame rate using software that registers the changes in pixels. I have refined the configuration from the last video, and this is what we got. PS2, as I said, has the best frame rate, sticking around 60 FPS. At its worst, dropping to 54, but this is where the Xbox flatlined, peaking around 30 FPS, dropping as low as 16, and it's very noticeable. I would hazard a guess it's to do with the vast amounts of walls in the Hedgemaze, as the frame rate is at its worst when rotating the camera. If so, it's a shame they didn't just render the walls in frame, because it's not like there's any readily available shortcuts.
Hey, I found a shortcut through Hedgemaze.
Get away, you little...
This must be an optimization problem on the Xbox, because not only does its console counterparts run this much better, but even the PSP does a far better job. Luckily, it's only on this level that runs this poorly, otherwise the Xbox port would be unplayable. The thing is, while this game looks fine for the time, there is nothing particularly groundbreaking graphically speaking, and certainly nothing that makes this kind of slowdown acceptable. I always find looking at games released around the same period as the best way to judge the visuals. And even though From Russia with Love was released on the verge of 2006, let's give it the benefit of the doubt and see what we got in 2005. And I'm glad I'm basing this on the Xbox, because due to the PC architecture, the Xbox received some very advanced ports this year. Doom 3 got its console port, along with the remarkably impressive Half-Life 2, and they are both great examples of pushing the limit, with the id3 engine showing us the kind of dynamic lighting, revolutionising visuals in the only way John Carmack could, and then the super high resolution textures of the Source engine, graphics that still hold up today. So, with that context, this game is the definition of middle of the road. Well, we play with the hand we are dealt, and Hedgemaze is a perfectly acceptable level. We get a new enemy type, requiring us to take out the radio to avoid reinforcements being called. We are given far more schematics to find, and gates to unlock. The game introduces the first Bond movement, something that had become commonplace in this era of Bond games, although you only find one per level, as opposed to the multiple in Nightfire, and they are far less cryptic. For instance, the clue in this level is shoot the gas can next to the car. Jesus, they don't trust us at all, do they? Then, it's on to the mansion we are here to infiltrate. Oh damn, it's Red Grant. And down goes Bond.
Record time, Mr. Grant. You are indeed the killer I'm looking for.
When do I get to kill the real James Bond?
After he steals from the Russians their new Lektor decoding machine.
And Bond is going to do it for us.
We assume that's who MI6 will send. There is a girl in the Russian consulate in Istanbul, Tatiana Romanova, who I've ordered to help. She believes I am still with KGB.
Won't MI6 suspect it's a trap?
My reading of the British mentality is that they always see a trap as a challenge. And then you can avenge the death of our Dr. No. Let Bond's death be a particularly unpleasant and humiliating.
As I said, those who saw the film would be expecting that twist, but the game does a good job of copying the source material, even down to how much the face changes when an obvious fake mask is put on the stand-in. This is a bit Austin Powers also parodied, and I'm here for it. As you saw, Rosa Klebb is the agent evaluating Red Grant here. The observant will know this was Mozany in the film, and I really have to get this out the way now, and then stop bringing up comparisons, as the game deviates quite a lot from the story of the film. This game lacks the archetypal evil villain, a spot filled by Ernst Stavro Blofeld in the movie. And the reason comes down to decades worth of legal limbo. I will make this brief for the uninformed, but it all comes down to a screenplay Ian Fleming wrote with the help of screenwriter Kevin McClory called Longitude 78 West. It was originally intended to be the first Bond film produced by Eon, but then the decision was made to make Fleming's sixth book, Dr. No, the jumping off point due to cost. Ian Fleming would then turn the treatment into his ninth Bond novel, Thunderball, without the knowledge of McClory. This would lead to a legal battle settled out of court, with Kevin McClory receiving £35,000 and the rights to Thunderball. the evil organisation Spectre, and its figurehead, supervillain, Blofeld, after a period of 10 years. As mentioned earlier, Sean Connery returned to the role of non-canon Bond in McClory's remake of Thunderball, Never Say Never Again. And this is why we didn't see Bond's iconic nemesis again until 2015's Spectre, when legal agreements were reached. I'm paraphrasing multiple articles for brevity, but the reason for going into this is because in 2005, this legal battle was still in full swing, impacting this game greatly. Spectre is renamed Octopus, and without Blofeld, the game doesn't really have the big bad, leading to a slightly disjointed story. The role of main villain is shared between Rosa Klebb and Red Grant, which is why I said in the beginning this is better considered a love letter to 60s Bond rather than a remake of From Russia with Love. From now on, we'll be judging the story entirely on what we are told in the game, only bringing up comparisons when absolutely necessary, as this could quickly become reductive.
And for my next miracle?
You'll have time for that later, 007. Step into my office immediately. It seems you have an admirer, a woman in Istanbul, Tatiana Romanova, who's fallen quite in love with you.
It's some sort of trap.
Precisely, and the bait is a brand new Lektor, a Soviet decoder machine. When she contacted Kerim Bey, head of Station T in Turkey, she said she wanted to defect and she'd turn over the Lektor to us on one condition: that you went to Istanbul and brought her and the machine back to England.
Good morning, 007.
Oh, good morning, Q. How have you been? Busy inventing things?
Not as busy as you've been destroying them. Follow me, 007, and try not to break anything.
There really is something magic in this game, seeing these deceased actors brought back in such a respectful way. Bernard Lee, Lottie Lenya and Robert Shaw, the actors playing M, Rosa Klebb and Red Grant respectively, all had passed away by the making of this game. And of course the national treasure that is Desmond Llewellyn, playing the unapologetic quippy foil to Bond's antics, Q. All of the replacements do excellent jobs of capturing the personality of these characters. Once finished watching some typically comical Q gadget set pieces, it's on to the training exercise, the game's way of teaching the player how to use the laser watch and disarming the bombs. We are also introduced to the attaché case, which from now on will be a findable item on the levels, like the schematics, giving us an extra reward point when found, and extra research points when opened and the prompts are successfully followed.
Congratulations, 007. Your training is complete. Now use this device to get yourself to Istanbul.
An airline ticket. How ingenious.
I expect you to return my equipment, along with the Lektor device, in pristine condition.
I'll bring it back. From Russia with love.
So, on to Turkey. And look, I know I say this every time, but I really do have some serious summarising to do in this game. The aim of this isn't to make a walkthrough. I've already done that over on my Plays channel, and From Russia with Love has 18 bloody levels, so brevity will be our friend here. Lest this turn into a 4-hour retrospective. And with all that said, it's on to Istanbul.
James, my friend, how nice to see you.
Kerim Bey.
Come, they're waiting for us at Station T.
I'll drive.
Our first driving stage, and the vehicles in this game handle reasonably well. It's what I would call action driving. Not actually anything like driving a real car, but passable for battle driving.
It appears that your truce with the Russians has just ended.
But I didn't order an attack.
Then who did?
I don't know. You'd best get us out of here.
This leisurely drive just turned into a rally race, with machine guns and rockets, and I'm here for it. Like the jetpack, the auto-locking of the machine gun is greatly appreciated, just needing me to hold down the shoot button while concentrating on driving. Destroy the Russians' garage. I don't really know why. Then, to deal with the roadblock. We get to use the repel function for the first time, take out the enemies, and then we fight a ruddy tank. It's not difficult, and in all honesty, the hardest thing about this level is meeting the time requirement.
Outstanding, 007. A bit over the top, but well done. Now, on to Station T.
I'm always a little split when it comes down to par times for levels. It's not so bad in games like Doom, where their purpose is to let you know you're an inferior gamer to John Romero. Suck it down. Am I right, John? But the time requirement is needed to earn the last reward points on the levels. And while it does add replay value, rushing through the levels, stressing about your time isn't really something I have ever enjoyed. I don't know how speedrunners do it.
It's easy. Never mind.
The Russians stormed the building. They've rigged bombs to explode.
Have they taken hostages?
Yes, several.
I'm going in.
We have arrived at Station T, with this quickly turning into a rescue mission. We get to use the Q-copter for the first time, and it's a very cool gadget. It is implemented into the game well, sometimes needing it to proceed, like here, but also, for the sharp of eye, there are sections in the game where secret areas can be accessed. Its usage is always to fly through a vent, and then remove the blockage on the other side, whether that be an electric lock, or simply a jammed chair. It's not always as easy as just flying it wherever you want though. In a nice touch, if the enemies see it, they will attack it. And if the target is outside of the blast range, you just lost your shiny new toy. Originally, the development team wanted to use the spider bot as they used in Everything or Nothing, but ultimately decided the technology would be too advanced for the 60s, so switched it for this. Although, I'm not sure how common drone-like copters complete with guidance screens were in the 60s. But I appreciate the attention to detail. Station T is one of the fictional locations Dave Carson talked about creating to expand the sets in the game. And like how they were thoughtful about the gadgets, work also went into making sure the decors fit with the period. In Dave's words, we did put a lot of computers in the game, but we made sure they were at least the size of refrigerators. This is another level that suffers from that par-time limit, with needing to disarm bombs and rescue hostages in multiple locations. There is a lot of tracking back to be done, although these aren't those kind of bell-end hostages from Nightfire. I actually never accidentally killed them once in several playthroughs, and I'm not sure you can, although this is compounded with a one-on-one fight with a bloody helicopter. At least we get some typical Bond luck, with the helicopter blowing open a route to the rocket launcher. How convenient. It's actually a tricky fight, especially in 00 Agent. One of the main difficulty points in this game is the lack of ammo. It really isn't one of those games that throws heaps of ammunition at the player, and ammo conservation becomes quite important from this point on.
Great work, Bob.
Thanks, Karen. But the question remains, why did the Russians decide to go to war now? I wonder if my arrival had something to do with it.
Maybe yes, maybe no. Perhaps we need to look in on the Russian consulate and find out who's behind the attacks.
It's time to spy on the spies.
Back to the good old DB5, just in time for another driving section. And it's on to Kareem's son's house to grab the disguises. You actually pick these alternative clothes up throughout the game. This is the only time you're required to use them, and it's not really my bag, but it's a nice little addition for those of us that are into that sort of thing. We get ambushed, and then we need to give chase after a red car before it escapes, and this is the type of mission that really can eat a bag of dicks. It's so frustrating. The car has that kind of Mario Kart 64 speed, whereas when out of sight, it seems to get the ability to hyperjump. The route it takes is totally random, and all this is while other cars attack you. It's bollocks. One wrong turn will totally kill getting the time reward. And getting back to this point, time and time again, to get outpaced was my least favourite part of the game. This does add certain amounts of euphoria when you eventually destroy it quickly. But then, This game. Allow me to quickly paint you a picture. So you have been chasing this cunt over and over again for well over an hour to finally get that glorious explosion. Your hands are sweaty, your muscles are tense, but it's okay, it's over. The phantom car is no more. So you carry on with the mission. Pull up to the Russian base. Under the guise of being a Russian soldier, you make your way into the eye of the beast. Relieved you are finally going to beat this level, you walk through the door to go outside. And, honestly, I couldn't fucking believe it. The game crashed and back to the start of the level. To be fair, in countless hours of gameplay time, this was the only glitch I found in the whole game. But what are the bloody chances it would happen on the level I hated the most? I eventually got back there, gingerly opened the door. And luckily, this was not a recreatable glitch. So we kill the last enemies, take out the first appearance of the huge armoured grunts, lower the boat, and get the fuck out of Dodge. One thing this game does very well is diversity of gameplay. We have third person on foot run and gun, stealthy sections, flying with a jetpack, battle racing, and now boating on rails current gameplay. It really does keep the game fresh. Now these underground tunnels are a return to the sets from the film, and it's done well here. Although in the movie, Bond and Kareem slowly float through the underground tunnels on a gondola. So how do you think the developers gamified this? Yep, turn it into a speedboat section with a Gatling gun on board. Great stuff. Ammo is infinite, so anchoring your fingers to the shoulder button is the name of the game here. And it's quite a tricky section. I really made it through but by the skin of my teeth, and with no more than a sliver of health. Luckily, once at Kareem's spy point, our health is restored.
Welcome to the Russian Consulate, directly above us.
I see our Lektor, and it seems to be the topic of discussion. Who's the general?
Krylenko, KGB.
Things are shaping up nicely.
Ah, the girl.
Yes. Wait.
Karen Bay has powerful allies.
Something about a camp of gypsies.
My friends.
Needed armed, Lektor. Just put it in the vault. We will deal with it later.
They said something about attacking a gypsy camp and putting the Lektor in a vault.
I must warn my friends.
You go save your friends. Take the boat. I'll find my own way out after I get those blueprints.
The rest of the level is everything we've already seen. Take out the enemies. We get to use the Q-copter to access a secret room. Grab the consulate floor plans, and then get to play with the jetpack for the second time. I'm not complaining. This is infinitely fun to play around with. And then escape through the tunnels with the jetpack. It's on to the gypsy camp to help Kareem's friends. And this is when From Russia with Love is at its best, taking the sets from the film and then expanding upon them. There is something very surreal about walking around in a fictional place from a film made in the 60s I have watched countless times. And Dave Coulson and his team did an excellent job. In the first section, we need to take out this gunner, and I have no idea why he has so much more endurance than the standard enemies. But we take it for what it is. It's actually a really challenging section, being swarmed by enemies. And again, the real difficulty here comes from the lack of ammo. Luckily, each weapon has special ammo, which needs to be selected, and I have been saving it up. Once the gunner is downed, the stage turns into another hostage rescue level. It's not hard, and another thing I liked here was how active the gypsy camp feels. The AI gypsies and Russian operatives fight each other around you, and it really captures that melee feel from the film.
It seems they're preparing for a final attack.
Krylenko's hit! He's running!
But who shot him?
Let's not question our good fortune.
I know I said I wouldn't keep referring to the film, letting the game tell its own story, but I have to interject here, because the story is not well told. And if you haven't seen the film, Red Grant's shooting Krylenko and saving Bond will make little sense. I will be docking points for this. The truth is, From Russia with Love is one of the lowest stake Bond films. It was made in a time when movies didn't always have to be dealing with world-altering stakes, something films like The Avengers really should learn from. After all, 007 books were more about espionage, rather than the full-on action the series turned into in the modern era. From Russia with Love had no world-altering subplots if Bond fails, with the only mission of the evil organisation, Spectre, being to send Red Grant to shadow Bond, keep him alive while he steals the Lektor from the Russians, then capture him, take the Lektor, and killing him to embarrass MI6. The main motivation of Spectre is good old-fashioned revenge, murdering Bond for killing their leader Dr. No. That's it, that is all the stakes of the film, and that is why Red Grant is saving Bond from Krylenko.
Get his rifle and meet me in the tower. We'll make our final stand there.
We finished the stage with a sniper section, and I'm not a fan. Sniper rifles are usually one of my favourite weapons in games, but not here. It all comes down to a balancing issue with the game. While I do like the shooting mechanic, as I said earlier, the auto-lock is very overpowered, and why would I want to line up perfect shots using the terrible Xbox controller when I can hit the enemy every time using normal guns, no matter the distance? Well, I don't, and that's exactly what I did here. In fact, apart from the bastard with the rocket launcher on a later level, I couldn't hit. I never used this bloody thing out of choice. Well, that is until I was forced to on the next level, and here, but I'll circle back to that later. Simple stuff. Protect Kareem, taking out the enemies as quick as possible, and then the level is over.
You fought well, my friend. The Gypsy Chief wants to make you an honorary son.
Oh, thank him for me. How's your arm?
I'll live.
But the problem is, so did Krylenko. We have to finish him off. He's standing between me and the Lektor.
Did you tell anyone at the consulate you are coming here?
No, of course not.
Good. This mission must remain a secret. You may go. Do you have news of the Krylenko situation?
It's soon to end. Bond is on his trail. Krylenko will not be able to protect the Lektor after tonight.
Yet another character not in the film. This is Eva, voiced and modelled on real-life television presenter Marina Manonos, and I have no idea why they picked her. Sniper Alley is the definition of a filler level. Nothing new. I know, that sounds like I'm digging out the game, but I'm really not. Perhaps I'm easily pleased, but I never grew tired of the gunplay in this game. It does a good job of remaining fun, especially considering how the developers used it to pad out the game. Once on the roof, cue the second sniper section, protecting Kareem, and I'm glad this isn't something used in the game again. Well, the main game that is. Luckily, we get respawning ammo as the Duke is truly a torturous creation. And this giant sign is another great example of attention to detail. It appeared in barely a shot during the movie, but its recreation and use here is very impressive. Take down the chopper, save Kareem from Krylenko, and the mission is over.
My son has arranged your meeting with Tatiana Romanova.
You look surprised. My friends call me Tonya.
Mine call me James Bond. Has everything been arranged for tomorrow with the Lektor?
Do we have to talk about that now?
Yes.
It's in the vault. I'll be waiting for you. With the lock codes at 12:45 in the operations room.
Well, I hope I haven't disappointed you.
I will tell you in the morning.
I mean, it wouldn't be a Bond time film without this, would it? So, time to finally retrieve that elusive Lektor everyone's been raving about. After Kareem's diversion... God damn it, Kareem. That's not a diversion. That's all-out terrorism. Bond makes his way to Tatiana, turning this into a protection mission. Again, this game does it in the least annoying way possible. I never failed the mission due to not protecting her, and while she can be a little grating,
Help me!
It's nowhere near the goat. After some copter fun, we get a somewhat tricky section involving gas, and then we make it to the vault, finally getting our hands on the Lektor, and then make our escape.
We have a train to catch, hopefully before the Russians catch us.
The Orient Express leaves for Belgrade within the hour. We have to be on that train. Good luck, my friend, as always.
This is a total filler level of the most egregious manner. We're told to get to the train station ASAP, but given a target of 30 enemies to destroy. The two objectives are counter to each other. It's the sort of thing you should ask. If this level wasn't here, would the game or the story suffer? If the answer is no, then you have a filler level with no respect for your time. And that is what we have here. And listen, if I'm playing a Bond game and driving something other than the Aston Martin, then I'm not a happy bunny.
Hello, old man. I'm Captain Nash. M sent me.
Meet me in the dining car this evening, and you can fill me in on the escape plan.
Tickets?
Come in. Just give me 1 second.
Take all the time you'd like.
Grilled sole.
Make it 2. And bring us some wine. Red wine.
So tell me about the escape plan.
The plan, old man, is that you die on the train.
Octopus. And the girl? Is she in on this?
She thought she was helping Mother Russia. Now stand up. We're going for the Lektor.
Pity to miss a meal.
Wait, what? Did he just knock down Red Grant with a fucking menu? This is actually a very well choreographed fight scene. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and in fact, the animation in the whole game really has been very good for the time.
Take care of him.
Back to game logic, taking out a heavy grunt, wielding a Gatling gun, along with multiple spawning enemies. Well, it's a game, it is what it is, but I will quickly mention, this is where Red Grant's journey ends in the film, being outwitted by Bond and strangled to death. It's not the case here though, and he acts as the main foil for 007 from now on. The train level is just about chasing after the Lektor, carried by Red Grant and Eva. Enter a new locked area, kill the enemies, then repeat until the boss battle with Red Grant. Pretty easy fight, as long as Bond focus is used. Shoot the targets until he falls, and then repeat. When his health is depleted, Red Grant falls in front of the train, and I'm sure we won't be seeing him again.
Sorry we're late, Mr. Bond. Where's my dad?
I'm sorry. Your father's dead.
The Russians?
Octopus. They've got the Lektor. Take the girl to the safe house. I've got some scores to settle.
Oh, hell yeah. Another go with that jetpack. I hate to be a fanboy normie, but I don't care the jetpack wasn't in the film. It's by far my favourite mechanic of the game. Now, the factory is the other side of the coin regarding filler levels. It might not be in the film, but it's a level full of character. Beginning with exploding scenery while flying with a jetpack. Large outside areas with good set pieces. With Bond ultimately heading to a secret underground base that absolutely oozes of the 60s Bond aesthetic. We even get to do battle with a giant octopus branded robot. Love it. We plant the bombs and proceed to the exit for this really well made cutscene. That really was unapologetically Bond, and we are left to escape with the Lektor. It's actually quite tricky. The timer has little room for error. You have to excuse me if it seems that we're going through these later levels at a breakneck pace, but I'm trying to respect your time, and while I don't mind playing extra levels that offer nothing new, they don't make for particularly interesting commentary, as you have seen most of everything the game has to offer.
James, there's a dock nearby. If you can get there, you can get out.
This level is about escaping with the Lektor, and this is the last time we get to drive that famous DB5. Once getting to the docks, Bond and Tatiana jump in the boat and race off to the worst on-rail section in the game. I didn't mind the tunnel boat section. It's short and at the start of the level, but this is a far more frustrating affair. It's just such overkill regarding the number of enemies needing to be defeated. We have to fight some soldiers with rocket launchers, speedboats with machine guns, naval mines, rocket-stocked helicopters, tanks, and if you can navigate all that, we are treated to the final showdown with a ruddy battleship. It's so over the top, and the hardest bit is getting that time limit reward. I'm not overly sure how the route of the boat is plotted, but after playing this multiple times, it seems somewhat random, meaning the amount of time it takes to get to the end of the level is very random and out of your control. Women drivers, am I right?
What are you doing?
Bond?
Good morning, 007. M here.
Morning, sir. We're on our way to the airport. It should be routine from here on in.
Not so fast, 007. I'll pick you up in a helicopter.
Web.
What? What's going on?
Your time is up, Mr. Bond. Romanova, get the door. Oh!
Horrible woman.
Yes, she's had her kicks.
I think this was maybe made such a colossal section because of the film. The boat escape was the final action scene, but here we still have unfinished business. This was the final scene in the film, and the developers did a fantastic job recreating this in the game. Funnily enough, when I was getting footage for this game in the last episode, I used this section, and I love this wallpaper. It screams 60s, the sort of thing my nan had when I was a kid. It's just great.
4 hours ago, we received a message from Octopus. They've stolen a nuclear weapon and are threatening to blow up London unless we pay them £100 million.
And you've tracked the weapon to here?
We believe it's the Octopus secret base.
Now, I like the final level in this game, but it could be the most tacked-on finale I've ever experienced. I mean, with the setup of Octopus exploiting the British government for £1 million, I feel they are almost leaning into parody.
$1 million! Sorry. $100 billion! Gentlemen, silence!
Okay, sorry Dr. Evil, I meant £100 million. This is a great level. I was looking over the concept art, Unlockable in-game, and it seems the art development team had a lot of fun designing this one, and they did an amazing job. They seem to have taken inspiration from different films, but even though there is no Blofeld, it's impossible to miss the artistic leads taken from his volcano lair. Honestly, I could gush over this so much more, but as I said, this is when the game is at its best. After we take a ride on this picturesque cable car, we arrive at the main entrance of the lair and it looks great. Again, there is nothing new in this final stage. All the fighting mechanics we have seen up to now are used in this final showdown. We are tasked with setting up bombs to stop Octopus launching a missile. with this being my personal favourite part of the lair, in the belly of the volcano. We get one final go on that awesome jetpack, using it to take out Eva permanently. See, as I said, women drivers.
Bond to M. I'm on my way out. The missile is disabled. The base is rigged to
And
blow.
with the bombs in place, it's time for Bond to escape and blow up the... Oh no.
Not so fast, old man. You should have made sure I was dead.
This time I will.
Ah, Red Grant, you little scamp, you got me. I mean, you got run over by a train. That's usually pretty permanent. This is a pretty cool battle. Red Grant has access to 3 weapons, the machine guns, the grenades, and the deadly lasers. There is a short window of time to attack Grant, because if you don't take cover, his artillery will decimate your health. It's not the hardest fight if taking your time and save the special ammo. As long as you hide back here, you can't get hit. But once again, the difficulty comes from that bloody time limit. You have to take chances if you want to satisfy that 18-minute time limit. To be fair, if you die, you start from the beginning of the fight and the clock rolls back to what it was when you first got into the boss battle. So, you get unlimited chances. The problem is, however, if you didn't play the rest of the level fast enough, you will never have enough time, no matter how many times you restart the fight, leading to the level needing to be played again. We finally get that sweet kill shot and roll the ending.
You're gonna shoot me in cold blood, old man. You don't have the guts. It's not the English way. It's like red wine with fish.
That was for Kerry.
Guess Red Grant didn't know Sean Connery was Scottish, eh?
James, now that it's over, I hope you don't find me disappointing.
I'll let you know in the morning.
So that's the main game. There are 4 unlockable training levels, accessible by earning those reward points we were working so hard for. The first of which is the tunnels, accessible after completing Station T. This is the first time we fight the huge armoured Gatling-wielding grunts, and involves disarming bombs within the time limit. The second is the ruins, accessible after Istanbul 2. I really liked this one. It involved going to the opposite side of this large area, pushing a button will raise the floor, like a giant elevator, and repeating until at the top. It's quite challenging, but well designed. The third is called the airport, with Bond being restrained to a single car park and taking out 75 enemies coming from all directions. It's an enemy attack wave type game, and also very fun. And then we come to the 4th and final secret level, the fucking plaza. Remember earlier I said there was one more section requiring the sniper? Well, this is it, and this can throat my scrote. This is the worst level in the game, and I fucking hated it. The premise is Bond is on the balcony, armed with an aforementioned sniper rifle, needing to take out 25 enemies. Again, in an enemy wave style. Problem is, this level fully exposes the terrible control system, and there is no auto-lock. What makes this worse here is there is no cover. The best Bond can do is simply duck, leaving you open to all enemy fire and even grenades. It's very hard on the PS2, the version with the best controls, but almost impossible on the Xbox. I did eventually beat it, but it took hours, and it's not what I would consider fun. My view on this will always be, if your game mechanics don't lend themselves to a certain type of gameplay, then don't include them in your game. There we have it. That's the game. Bond has bettered the evil Spectre stand-in, Red Grant and Rosa Kleber dead, and Bond lives to fight another day. So, with all that being said, let's rank it. The graphics in this game are the definition of middle of the road. As I said, there were some very graphically impressive games released around this time. Apart from the two examples I gave, Gears of War, Fear, Shadow of the Colossus were all released in 2005. And when stood up against those titles, From Russia with Love can't hold a candle. What does work in this game is in the detail, in the environments, something the art team put a lot of work into. By far, the best part of this game is the gameplay. There is such a diverse selection of gameplay, whether it's the third-person shooting, flying, driving, boating, all with their own nuances. Where the game really excels is how fun the gunplay is. I honestly never got bored of it, and that is a very hard balance to achieve. The music in this game, while basic, fits the game very well. When writing music for a pre-existing IP, the aim should never be to deviate from what came before, instead using your own style to create something that fits within that genre. I feel this is something Christopher Lennox did very well. As I said, it doesn't do anything special, but definitely enhances the Bond feel. The story with this game is where the wheels came off. The narrative neither stands on its own feet, nor faithfully follows the film's story, leaving behind a disjointed experience. This game is incredibly playable in the current day, and if it wasn't for those terrible sniper sections, I would have considered a higher score, as it is such a fun pick up and play. I award a Wranker score of 71%, putting it behind Nightfire but above 007 Racing, placing it in the A Great Time category. My god, what a pleasant surprise after the disaster that was Tomorrow Never Dies, and an unexpected one at that. When I played the game, I was in a very similar situation, a game that didn't review particularly well, and one that I never played before, but From Russia with Love was a very different experience. Is this a perfect game? Definitely not. It certainly has flaws, but I feel the good by far outweighs the bad. I think the biggest problem that plagued this game is the story, and unfortunately, that's kind of important when making a video game remake of an at the time 42-year-old film. To be fair, the developers aren't completely to blame. When trying to adapt a pre-existing story, being told you can't use one of Bond's most iconic villains or the evil organisation from the film, creating a cohesive story is not going to be easy. At the end of the day, who am I to judge? The story for this game was written by seasoned screenplay writer Bruce Feinstein, a man who had a hand in all of Pierce Brosnan's Bond appearances, including my personal favourite Bond film, GoldenEye. However, there is certainly ways the developers could have incorporated his changes to make the story more cohesive. I said I would circle back to Sir Sean Connery's performance in this game, and I left it till the end on purpose so you would have heard most of his lines in the game. I think the interpretation of this comes down to how you approach it. Does Sean sound like he did in 1963? No, of course not. He would have been 75 years old when this game was made, and all of our vocal cords change over time. His performance had a raspy twang, with the intensity sometimes not matching the tone of the scene, like a parody of Connery's younger Bond. But this really is a larger overall consideration for how you should view this game. If you go into this expecting a fun love letter to the original film, or perhaps even a director's cut, through those lenses everything works much better, including Sean Connery's voiceover. At the end of the day, hearing the old master return to the role one last time is well worth suspending a little disbelief, and all I can say is if you are a Bond fan, this is a must play, if only for the nostalgia. Well, that's the retrospective, and after that unexpected diamond in the rough, it's time to find out our fate for the next episode, and I'm praying for something good. So, to the Wheel of Bond. Oh, that's awesome. I genuinely have been looking forward to Agent Under Fire. I haven't played this for years, and I didn't want to influence the retrospective by playing it before it was picked, so this will be fun. It's also a standalone story which I much prefer over film adaptation. This is another game I first played at Christmas in 2001, so that means I will have some fun with this one over Christmas and then release the retrospective in the new year. Great stuff. So join me next time when we take a look at 007 Agent Under Fire and see if it was as comparable to Nightfire as my old brain remembers. And with all that being said, thank you for watching, be good, stay safe, and I will see you on the next one. Surprise, an after credits scene for anyone still watching. Just wanted to add a quick addendum. This video script was written just after Halloween 2024, and the video was pretty much edited by Christmas of that year, so all the information was correct as of that time. If you want to know why this took so long to release, you can check out this video. Now I know I said Agent Under Fire will be the next video, but it will probably be the new Bond game First Light, although that has been pushed back 2 months, so we'll play it by ear. That will be in a different format, and I will have to work some stuff out as it's a review, not a retrospective, but we'll rank it and give it a position in the A Review to a Kill chart. In the meantime, I will start working on the Agent Under Fire video as I've already played the game multiple times in preparation, and it will be up next after, if not before, First Light. We'll see. Okay, that's all I've got for you, so again, thank you for watching and see you soon.